Are you stuck in a negative narrative? What you think about yourself and the world around you tremendously impacts your life, your happiness, your well-being, and your health. If you think you are worthy of love and capable of confronting and overcoming your life's challenges, you are more likely to act in ways that confirms those beliefs. On the other hand, if you think that the opposite may be true, that you're unlovable, that you're unworthy and incompetent, odds are you will act in alignment with all those thoughts and feelings. The stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, that is what you believe about yourself, really truly shapes how you think, feel, and act. However, this is only part of the truth, one part of the truth, and may not be the entire part or the biggest part. Because more than what you think, it matters how you respond to your own thinking. For example, you might think that I will never be good enough, but you are kind, you are caring, and compassionate towards yourself. It's possible. And you know that because if you look more closely at your own experiences, your negative thoughts don't always land in the same way. By holding your thoughts lightly, you can notice that these are just stories your mind tells you about yourself, and these are not facts. And even though they feel true or sometimes even are objectively true, they don't have to dictate, they don't have to dominate your life. Thoughts are just thoughts. They don't hold power over you unless you get caught up in giving your thoughts power. This is often easier said than done because we all are used to holding on to core beliefs and blocks about ourselves that seem as self-evident as a fact that this is true or that this is something that's actually happening to me. And more often we don't even realize when we're in this grip of our own negative core beliefs and thoughts, we're unable to distinguish them from what is while letting ourselves be guided by them in unhelpful or harmful ways. Stop over-identification with labels. The human mind is a master at categorizing. We give names to all the birds in the sky, all the fish in the sea, and literally everything else because it helps us make sense of our world and it allows us to make better decisions that only ensures our survival. Words can never capture the true complexity of our lives and instead reduce everything to a mere label. And when we forget this fact, which we quite often do, including me, we make the mistake. We mistake the label for the real thing. We then reduce ourselves to being our job, our status, our role within our families, to somebody that we don't even identify as sometimes, to a mental health diagnosis we once received, and we get stuck to that label that, yeah, I am that person. We are then no longer a living being of unfathomable complexity, but we are a mom, a loser, a lazy person, a depressed person. The first sign that we're stuck in a negative narrative is that we overly start identifying with these labels. Stop repetition of negative patterns. Few habits always have been good or bad results. Their usefulness depends on the circumstances. Take a process such as shutting down your deepest feelings. That process is an unhelpful way or unhealthy way for our relationships. But learning how to communicate better, how to express yourself better is the hard work that you need to do for your growth and development. Similarly, having said that, if you repeatedly engage in unhealthy or unhelpful habits, see if you aren't stuck in that narrative. Despite what your mind may tell you about how you have to be, how you should be, it is time to break away from that. How do you do that? Stop blaming. External factors, often there are real forces holding people back in their lives, especially in a world that struggles to treat everyone with kindness, with respect and grace. But life also asks us to take an honest look at our own lives and how much are we contributing towards our own suffering? How much are we willing to really change? If all you see are external reasons to blame for your mindset, for your misery, your frustrations, you are going to be stuck in that negative narrative. There are always some aspects within our control, even if it's just our own perspective, our own mindset. By taking charge, by taking responsibility for ourselves and making active choices in alignment with our goals, our values, we are likely to move the needle, even if it's slightly, in a better direction, step by step. So stop avoiding, letting go. Some experiences have such a strong impact that they continue to haunt you long after they have even passed. Maybe someone in the past hurt you in an unimaginable way, and although you no longer speak to that person, their image, their words still echo in your mind, in your memories. And whenever you remember and wrestle with that memory, you might feel your heart beating faster and your body just tensing up. Again and again, you feel compelled to engage with that memory, imagining things going differently and hoping to find a solution or even closure, which will never come your way. So learning to let go is hard. It seems impossible, but I'm here to tell you it is possible. Especially if you can still feel the pain. And if you were to let go, you might have to let the people who may have wronged you off the hook. But letting go is not about other people. It's about you being kind and compassionate with yourself. It's about noticing the toll this endless fighting has had on your mental health and peace of mind. And with patience and compassion and kindness, reclaiming your own focus and putting it away from this itching wound and instead on the things that you truly care about. Stop the consistent negative self-talk now. Most of us tend to speak to ourselves in a manner that we would rarely, if ever, use when speaking to a friend, a loved one. We are way too harsh. We are then harsh in our judgments and quick to punish ourselves with critical insults. How could I be so stupid? I'm such a disappointment. I should have gotten over this. I'll never get this right. I'm never enough, and so on. This is often an automatic process, and we do it so quickly and naturally and unmindfully that we hardly ever notice it, let alone how it's affecting your own peace of mind and well-being. You might have been led to believe that you need to be strict with yourself and hard on yourself and beat yourself so that you stop messing up. But what does your experience tell you about how well that actually works? If you're being honest with yourself, you're likely to agree that this approach didn't deliver the promised results. It didn't serve you. You're not a horse to be whipped. You are instead deserving of love, kindness, and compassion, especially when you make a mistake or when you feel vulnerable. Changing your inner monologue requires active practice, daily commitment, and you can develop by first starting by having a caring tone. Stop the unwillingness to consider other alternatives. When you're stuck in a negative narrative, life appears very much one-sided. Our vision gets blurred and closed down, and we become convinced that reality is just as our mind tells us. This is relatively easy to spot in other people, but it is much harder to notice the impact of our own negative beliefs, our own self-limiting beliefs. When we wear red-tinted glasses, we don't see our glasses. Instead, we see the world as red. As a result, we feel compelled to act as if the world were red, not realizing that different views and different perspectives are available once that they are just as valid. If you're overly concerned about your looks, you may perceive a romantic rejection as proof of your own physical inadequacy. We do not notice that it may have nothing to do with ourselves. When we become too stressed about all the chores we must do on any given day, we may overlook the fact that not doing them is also an alternative. That's also an option. There are always different points of view available. some of which are more empowering than others. And it is our responsibility to explore those alternatives. And by noticing the stories our mind tells us about ourselves, we can more consciously choose which will ascribe to, which one I want to subscribe to, and which one I have to let go. In effect, we may not be able to choose our thoughts, but we can choose our core beliefs and start by challenging those core beliefs that are not serving you. The narratives we tell ourselves about ourselves and the world we live in have a very, very powerful impact on our mental well-being, our happiness, our health, especially when we start to give them more power. By consciously noticing these narratives, a skill you can practice in your everyday life. You can learn to choose how to engage with your thoughts, whether you want to let them drive your actions or acknowledge their presence by detaching yourself from those thoughts and without letting them dictate your demands. Out of all of what I have shared with you, what is that one thing you're going to start practicing from this moment on? Maybe it is starting a meditative practice or getting yourself help. We at Happiness is Love are here to help you because we care, and we are here to be a part of your self-growth journey. And believe me, the magic that you're looking for is in the things that you're avoiding. So ask yourself, in what ways am I avoiding discomfort? In what ways am I avoiding changing my narrative? At Happiness is Love, we believe that together we are happier, together we are stronger, together we're building ourselves, each other, and we are here because we are the future leaders. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned for more, and do comment in the box below on what are the things you're going to start changing from this moment on.